Tonight we are going to have the FLL coaches call for the challenge program. Just in case you're seeing me for the first time, Craig Peterman, the program delivery partner out of Badger Bots out of Madison. Got Jay Church to my that way, at least on my screen, and Brian Farrell that way, head judge advisor for the state. So let's just jump right into some administrative issues. Everybody should know that as you jumped in, you should know that this call is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube channel sometime after the meeting is over. All right, so administratively, you should all know that the registration is open for the Wisconsin regional tournaments. I haven't looked recently. I looked, a couple hours after we opened it, and it seemed to be working. So at least from our perspective, we're getting the information we need. We tried to make it more user-friendly. I haven't seen anybody complain, so maybe that's a good sign that it's working on your end as well. The registration will be open until October 1st. And teams can still participate if they don't register before October 1st. However, you'll be slotted where we have openings at tournaments, which may not be your preference. So again, there's no benefit to registering early, but there definitely is a benefit to registering before the deadline, which is October 1st. As far as payment, hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. At least choose one or the other. Either you're going to pay via credit card or you're going to need an invoice. This is really just a precursor to the actual payment process, which will be explained when the assignments are made and the emails are sent out to the coaches. So we are not asking for payment now. That will come first week of October with the assignments email. Really, that's kind of all I have to say about the registration process. If there's any questions, fire away.
So Craig, on the invoices last year, some of us through the school district had issues with getting everything paid before the first regional that one of the teams was at. So as long as we show in good faith that the payment is in process, are we still allowed to attend, or is there a way to get these invoices? Because I got 5 teams, right? And I could pay you now, even though they're not assigned to a regional. So is there any way to get these invoices earlier so that they aren't an issue?
I understand what you're saying completely. And in fact, we were talking about the invoice process. We might be able to start generating those next week as those registrations come in. So to your point, the sooner we get on it, the sooner we get it resolved. So yes, we may start doing that next week.
Okay, perfect. So earliest we would get an invoice is next week.
Yes.
Okay.
And in your case, you've identified you want 5 teams invoiced together. We can do that.
Okay. And yes, you're correct. The registration was far easier than it has ever been in the past.
Okay, well, that's good news. Thank you.
I think Emily had a question in the chat.
Oh, Jay, what's in the chat?
I was actually just looking that up in the newsletter. I noticed that there's a sectional is before a regional, which is different than before.
Actually, that is not true. Last year, we did have a sectional the day before another regional, and then there was a subsequent sectional the following weekend. So it's just a matter of timing and scheduling. But that's how we weren't able to determine which regionals go to which sectionals, because there are those, scheduling issues that we have to, thread the needle.
Well, we know for sure that that Franklin can't go to Oak Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. Well, and remember, some venues are limited by capacity. And so if we decide we need to make the sectionals bigger, we need facilities that can handle it. So, a lot of factors go into who gets what. And of course, The tournament directors have to secure the venues on the dates they can. We're fighting basketball season, as many of you know, and it's challenging. So the tournament directors did a great job getting ahead of the curve.
So Craig, just to make sure that I understand, for this season, not a lot of difference than previous seasons. We should expect the earliest judging time to be 8 or 8:30. We should expect to be at the regional as late as 5:30 or 6. And then we should expect some amount of a table for our pit areas, correct?
That is all generally correct. I would argue we're probably not going to be there till 6, but I'm going to actually punt and let Brian address that question.
So, I mean, those as outside numbers, I think that's reasonable. We don't have I'm working on a few tweaks to the schedule, and we're trying to get all that nailed down. But again, like last year, we were trying to pull in the things that ends a little bit sooner. So we're going to try to do that, kind of do the same thing that way this year, but I don't know the exact timing.
Are we trying to keep it to 24 or so teams per regional? Because more than that usually would bring it to like a longer time if there aren't enough judges to support, right?
Ideally, 24 is the quote unquote right size for a regional tournament, and that's kind of from experience, but also the general view of First, the mothership. They communicated that. However, I will tell you the numbers are coming in really strong, and if all the teams decide to sign up for a regional, I promise you many regionals are going to be more than 24. And so those will last longer. They will need more judging panels. They will need more referees. They will need, well, maybe not more referees, because we still can only have 4 tables running it, alternating, but we'll need more volunteers to be judges. So if the numbers keep coming in strong, some tournaments are going to be bigger.
With that said, Jen, I actually do look at it. I don't look at a tournament of 24 only. I look at, I'm playing with scheduled timings from, 12 teams up to 36, just to kind of get a feel for how things scale as well.
Okay. It's just one of those weekends has like 3 tournaments at it. So from a capacity perspective, it would seem like it would be difficult on a couple of those weekends to have enough judging and refs to cover all of them, but maybe not the case.
Well, part of it's they're not necessarily geographically, but some of those duplicate weekends are spread out geographically, so
Okay.
they might pull in different judges. But yes, that is a problem we've had in the past, even in like southeastern Wisconsin, where tournaments trade off judges because of how many they have and what they need to run the tournaments.
I don't think
Do
we
you
actually.
have
I don't think
Oh,
we
go
actually
ahead.
have 3 on one weekend, right? I only see 2.
I think 11th, 12th of November, there are 3.
Well, the 11th and 12th, you've got 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday.
Oh, we're
So
talking cumulatively. Okay, I got you. So then there's 4.
Yeah,
That's only
I
2
mean,
locations.
those two normally go the same weekend though.
Gotcha.
That's actually normal.
Last year, those 2 actually were, same thing, Saturday and Sunday, but then on one of those days, Madison had their regional. So we did have 3 on one day last year. This year, no more than 2 on a single day.
There's a question. Is there a possibility that our team will be assigned to regionals outside of the 3 preferred options we chose?
I won't say 0 chance, but I can't rule anything out. Obviously, the goal is to give everybody their first choice. Those venues that, for example, Riverside can only take 24 teams. He made that perfectly clear. That's the capacity they have. If 60 teams make it their first choice, well, we're going to have to move on down the hierarchy to the second choice and so on and so forth. So I can't guarantee anything, but we're going to do our best to give teams their preferences. Obviously, geography will be a very key driver. I'm not going to try and put a Janesville team all the way up in Appleton. It just, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But some teams may not get, their first or possibly even their second choice. That's exactly why we give 3. Hopefully that will resolve the issue. And like I said before, if we need to increase the size of the tournaments that can handle more teams, we're going to do that to meet that criteria, that the preferences of the teams.
In the next coaches letter, would you be able to provide the instructions for volunteer sign up? Because we have a group at work that wants to volunteer, but I can't find the instructions from last year.
Oh, I can try and dig those up.
Thanks.
I know you asked for them. I've been really busy lately.
That's okay. I'm not the only one with an affiliation with an employer, so maybe the rest of us could drum up enough volunteers to where it won't be, you know, a trade-off due to judging, right? Or roughing.
Yeah, we appreciate that. But, you know, as Craig was saying, there's, you know, the example of, 60 teams signing up for the last tournament of the season, that is not unheard of. Okay. One thing to keep in mind, I think the experienced coaches probably know this, but just a reminder for them and an FYI for the new coaches. Okay, you will never feel ready for a tournament. Okay, pick a date. If it's an earlier date, everybody's got the same amount of practice time, so there's kind of a level playing field going on. So, don't say, "Oh, we got to have the last one because we won't be ready." You can, the reality is you're gonna be as ready as you are whenever the tournament is. So don't just say, "Oh, we got to do the last tournament because that's the last tournament. We have more time."
Jay, anything in the chat?
Nope. We're caught up in chat at the moment.
All right. We can obviously take questions as they come up. Just one important, another administrative piece that we can help out. I'm getting now that the season has started, I'm getting an inflow of requests of individual kids from their parents, of course, looking for a team. So again, I'm going to make a pitch on Slack. There is that, what do you call them, sub channels of looking for a team. I'll be posting 2 or 3 more, and they're scattered throughout the state. So if you have potential opportunities, space on your team, I know a lot of stars have to align to make this happen, but it would be wonderful if we could find a home for some of these kids that want to participate. So far, my batting average is 0, so help me out a little bit, please. I understand if it doesn't work, but at least consider it. So if you haven't signed up to that particular channel, please do so. And then what I'm going to start doing is sending out emails to kind of the coaches in that general geography, just asking. So please.
How do we sign up for that channel?
It's part of the Slack, the WIFL coaches Slack. It's a sub channel. Am I using the correct terminology for that?
It's a channel, but what you can do is you can click on like add channels and browse channels when you do that. And then you can add in for those, you can find that channel and then join it.
It'd be super cool if that was one of the default ones, so I didn't have to take that extra effort and then it'd always pop up in my feed.
If you show me how to do that, I will be glad to do it. I couldn't figure it out.
I don't know, 4 other ones were always there: coach meetings, coach to coach, general, and official referee questions.
Well, let me look at parameters settings on it. I haven't really looked.
Well, we will look into that. Good idea.
Okay, so we do have a couple other things in chat. So author says they're trying something new. They're having a practice tournament at our local library before we head to our tournament. Are you guys just doing that for your teams, Arthur, or is it for other teams as well? Is it just day before tournament, or?
It really comes down to when we can actually get it scheduled. We have 3 teams already within our region and in our community, so we're just kind of keeping it local.
Okay, fair enough. Let me just dovetail off of that. When I saw your message, I just contacted the organizer of the other scrimmage on October 14th. She says they have 4 slots available still. And that is Brian, that's Muskego? McQuantico? Where is that?
That is Muskego.
Muskego.
It's Rearbots. I think it's at the middle school, if I remember correctly. I can look that up. My understanding from talking to her about the judging, I don't know that it's room judging. I think it's pit judging, but it's still, they're going to try to have some judging component to it as well. And I'm pretty sure they're going to have scheduled match times for that one, if I remember correctly.
I'd love to travel to another practice scrimmage, but the problem is that the way that school buses are working within school districts right now, finding a driver for anything that's not football is really hard.
Gotcha. I will go down through the other stuff here in chat. Jill says, are there any other teams pushing hard on the mat and tearing it? Any ways to secure it better? So we don't tape the mats down to the tables. The way, and I don't suggest that you guys do, because you should probably be practicing in the same way you're going to be at tournaments. So I don't want you to tape your mats down at home and then expect them to be, have no movement on the tournaments. We don't tape them because when the tape comes up so many times from moving these mats around, they rip as well. So if anyone has any other way to secure it better, I'm not sure how you would secure it better than without physically securing it.
Yeah, I'm just worried if they keep practicing as aggressively against the objects as they are. In the
Understood.
tournament, I don't think it'll be as big of a problem, but they're a little aggressive right
Yeah,
now.
understood. And also, I'm sure they'll tweak all that by the time they get to tournament as well.
Yes,
'cause,
it's
there-
in that learning process.
There are some things that we've had before. Teams have a robot where they didn't have a wheel on the back, so it would just kind of like tail drag across the mat, and we couldn't really let them run on our tables because it would rip the mat. And they even knew that. This is a couple years ago, so they knew that it was an issue. But we told them they had to put something on the back of their robot. They couldn't just tear the tables up. So yeah, definitely do try to be. Not specifically calling you guys out, but if you guys could please make sure to kind of your robots aren't tearing the mats up, that would be great.
I've also been asking my teams to have a spotter for the robot so that when they're practicing, that if the robot does go off the handles, that they can pick up the robot before it does any damage to any of the field pieces.
So during a match?
Just during practice right now. Well,
Okay.
we're still trying to figure things out.
Understood. So as long as they understand that,
guys.
hello? So Arthur, as long as they understand the consequence of doing that during an actual match, right? So the robot is actually allowed to knock the elements around. It's allowed to erase scores and stuff like that. So if they reach out and stop it from hitting a model during the match, it's still a valid interruption, and they will get
Yes, and I
penalized.
do tell them that it is a that is a token offense, so don't be messing around with it. But just while they're still trying to get their base code down, the robot could fly off the handle.
Understood. Yeah, we appreciate it. So sorry, I'm just trying to catch up here. Emily says, yeah, I'm worried the sound mixer, to keep hitting it so hard that the mat keeps moving, and I'm afraid it'll rip there. Again, I'm sure they'll tweak that before we get to tournament. Emily, if you guys don't end up tweaking that before you get to tournament, let me know. We'll have to make sure we do something to make sure something doesn't rip.
Okay.
I
We
think
might
the
have a
motion
default
of that,
channel.
I think the motion of that, Jay, though, it is pulling or pushing things up. So I would expect that one to become loose during a tournament for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to pay a lot of attention to make sure everything is seated properly before the matches and stuff like that. And we're, of course, we're going to have models that come up. I mean, it happens. So your team should just be familiar with, what happens during the match. If a model comes up, what it means for your team. Do you get penalized, stuff like that. So actually, Allison, she getting ready to jump into the chat now, or jump in now.
I just invited her, or admitted her.
All right, I'm just trying to catch up on the chat here, guys. No, but we had some dual lock move around the mat into the round location, and it definitely roughed up the mat when I was trying to get off of there. Yeah, I get it. So for us, the light show and the rolling camera taking a beating. Our rolling camera's a nightmare. Yes, issue with the camera. Okay, so just chat between each other. Okay, gotcha. If I missed a question in chat, please let me know. I don't think I missed anything that was directed towards us. Miss Conrad.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, we were just letting people know that you had 4 slots available. Do you want to give these guys any more information?
Yeah, sure. So we are doing different kind of scrimmage. So we are hosting more board centric. It is actually a part of the first robotics competition, off-season competition. So there will be all 3 levels of first represented, which is going to be a really cool opportunity for kids. So we have 4 slots available. We have a morning group and an afternoon group. I think time slots are about 2 hours each. We'll have kids rotating to the boards where we'll have referees set up. And then we'll also have spaces for them to have their project boards, so that they can, like, if they have surveys or they want to get like community feedback on their projects to get those good judging points at regionals and stuff, we will have that available as well. So should be a total blast. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And I'm sorry, the location is, you said it was.
And that's in Muskego. It's at Lake Danoon Middle School on October 14th.
And how does a team sign up?
There is a Google form that is linked in I think it's the general channel on Wisconsin FLL. I will post a link in the chat in just a moment.
Okay.
I'll try to remember to copy that. Link out when we post the video as well. And then
Hey,
Brian-
Jay,
sorry,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you talk about the FLL virtual mentor thing? I missed the first part of the meeting because I had a call I had to take.
We did not yet. So I was just going to tail into that.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to let people know I was here if they had questions.
I mean, you can take it away if you'd like. Yeah, because they don't know what it is yet. I haven't said anything about any of the Slack post yet. So if you want to kind of explain to people what the mentor
Sure.
program is there.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So last year, the 2022-23 Cyber Turtles, as one of their impact projects, was to make an FLL help website for all kids everywhere in the world, which obviously hasn't gotten that far yet. We're just starting out this year. But so if kids had questions that they needed answered, anything really having to do with FLL. So we have 4 of those kids graduate FLL last year, and we brought that now to the FTC and FRC teams at Team 537 Charger Robotics in Sussex. And with the help from those kids, and then those of us that were previous mentors of FLL, and other kids that have had 2 or more years of experience with FLL, we are going to be hosting call-ins, virtual meetings, basically every Thursday evening for kids who have any questions. We will have topics every week. I don't think Jason listed the topics when he sent out the notification about it on Slack here, but I can send out a list of the topics.
Yeah, I just see
as I will
one
also-
topic. I just see one topic that he posted.
Right, and that's the topic of this week. So on Thursday, the topic will be all about finding your problem and solution. So we'll have one of the kids who was in FLL for 4 years, who really was a star at working on project, be leading that meeting with me as the mentor in the background. So that will be our very first one, but I will also put out there a list of a calendar basically of what topics we'll have on which day. So if kids are only interested in coding or questions about the robot or questions about core values, any of that stuff, they can then log in at the time that works best for them.
And
And then we also have an email on there that kids can email at any time, and it will be checked by the mentors. And we will have kids get back to them and answer questions, hopefully within 24 hours or so. If they have any questions, you know, during the week when we're not having the virtual meeting.
at the risk of giving away your super secret identity, that's actually Kathy, not Fluffy.
Oh, does it still say Fluffy?
Yeah. So, do you want to
Oh,
tell them how
I'm
to
so
reach
sorry.
you?
I try to figure out how to change that every
all
time. I
good.
change my phone's name and it still comes up as Fluffy. Yes, I'm Kathy Betters from the Cyber Turtles.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like a really cool program. So there is information on that on the Slack channel and the general channel there. You guys might want to reach out to Craig and see if you guys want to integrate something into the newsletter if that works or whatever. This is just something that popped up that I've heard about today, so I'm not sure if it's something I want to integrate in there, but
No, you know what? I'll talk to Jason and Christine, the other coaches that are doing this with myself.
Yeah, actually, I've already kind of
And,
gone back and forth with Jason.
okay.
Oh,
And
okay,
I
perfect.
told him I need to think about it. The only hesitation I have is, you know, I don't want every FRC, every FTC team coming to me to put something into the newsletter. So, you know, I
Understood.
totally am on board with the program. Just gotta, you know, make sure we use it prudently, the communication.
No, I totally get it. You let us know if you want some
Yep.
more information, and I'll be happy to get that for you or
Very good. He
Jason.
gave me a
too.
summary similar to what's in Slack. So
Okay. Excellent.
we'll see what happens on Thursday.
Brian, do you have information for Waukesha? Is Waukesha sign up available yet? Or
Yeah, that's out. I posted that. It's in the newsletter.
okay,
There's a couple slots open yet, and then I got one team that has duplicate slots I got to get cleaned up. But
Okay.
I'm already working with them on that, so there should be a couple more opening up. So that is out there. But again, the link, the Sign Up Genius link, that is in the newsletter. And then Allison did post in the chat the link about the Muskego scrimmage and also the sign up form. So that is out there as well. So thanks Allison for doing that. And then I did, if somebody can check, looking for a team should be a default, at least for new people now. I don't know if it's retroactive to everybody else. So if somebody that had it didn't add it manually, if they can hop on Slack and look. I can't because I already have it on Slack. I already added it. So
okay. And again, I think I'm caught up with chat. If I'm missing something, let me know, guys. But I think we're caught up there. There's a couple things that we had on Slack this week, a couple questions and stuff that I'd share with you guys, unless you have any other specific questions right away, and we can address those now. Also take some afterwards, but I just want to make sure we get this information out. So for those of you watching the video and that don't know, we have our Slack channel, and you guys can ask questions anytime you want, and then we'll try to answer the questions as soon as we can. So we had a couple things posted in the referee. I call it sub channel too, Craig. I know it's a channel of a channel, but I'm not a Slack expert either. But so in the official referee question, I just want to go over a couple things here. Oh, actually, Kathy had another question for me earlier. Kathy, I don't think I checked this one. So if anybody here knows for sure, that would be great. She had their M11, the light show pointer, was pushing past green into the white. Is that a mission model failure, guys? Anybody that's practicing with that model, or is that a something that is meant to happen? Are you guys having that happen routinely, or is there a block there? One person thought there was a actual physical barrier that shouldn't happen. Jen, Emily,
Ours doesn't go
Mine-
up that far.
it won't physically go up that far, Jen?
We haven't tried to make it go up that far.
I don't think they were trying either.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
But we
Oh,
did have to
mine-
rebuild ours, so, actually, we've had to rebuild every single mission model. The kids have absolutely built everyone incorrectly, so
Oh,
Um,
no.
but upon rebuild, all the missions are acting appropriately, and it looks like, I know that Peggy had a question about the flower one, I think it is, whichever the one that is in the back. And it looks like the halfway point, it looks like we had it built right the first time, where if you hit it a little bit, it would go the rest of the way. So I think it'll be interesting to see how all these models behave once we get to the scrimmages, I think.
Yeah, we're pretty confident that we can give you guys a set of models on the table that act like they're supposed to. We got the same feedback from the world referees. We checked in with them just to make sure that we were interpreting the way they were going to. So teams that advance, if you get a berth to Worlds, you kind of encounter the same type of refereeing there. And they kind of said the same thing. They expect that somewhere around the halfway point, the gravity should kick in and to complete the model there for you. So, and Eric and I, the sets that we have, we both checked and they do. Mine's a little bit earlier than 50%. I think his is right at 50%. So, but anyway, that wasn't the initial questions I was looking at, but I just happened to notice that we didn't answer you on that one. And it looks like Emily's team is going to look real quick. If things on the back.
Look down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and with the light show mission, the kids were not doing it with the robot yet. They were just going around the board, explaining all the missions to each other. We assigned them each a couple missions, and so they would zoom it up with, like the two bars, they would zoom up with their hands. So it was going really fast. When it didn't go up as fast, it didn't really go past the white or the I think the green is on top, if I'm correct. It didn't go past that, but it seemed like it was pushed hard enough. So that's why we're not sure, because it did have a little bit of, of something trying to stop it, but they were a little forceful too.
It looks like Emily and Jill both are kind of confirming that, or if the things on the back fall off, it can go into white, but it really should not be able to. It looks like it should
Okay.
not go into the white.
I'll look at our models when I'm there on Wednesday. We have 2 tables for our 3 teams, so we've got more than one built and they both did it. So I will check them all to make sure they are all correct.
Okay.
Yeah, check for little, at least I saw on the bottom of mine, some black pieces that were on the long rods that looked like they didn't belong there. And so I was going to go back and see what got disconnected.
Okay. And the little pieces that don't look like they belong are the ones that did the stopping.
That's my guess. I was just looking at
Okay.
that going, why are those there? And also, yeah, we've definitely gone into the white a couple of times on the top.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it on Wednesday and assess it and see, and maybe they're just being too forceful.
Yes, those are the things that my son said were falling off, and we had a problem with that when we were doing it by hand in the beginning too.
Okay.
And so like we actually brought that up at one of the first coaching calls, and we're like, these constantly fall off. And it was because there was too much tension on the rods. Is that what they're called? The black rods.
Mhm.
Axles, the black axles that go up and down. So they just kind of rebuilt it slightly and it worked fine then.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at them then. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. We also had a question about, so Sandy was asking us on the referee channel. So they're currently going through the missions, and they noticed that mission 14 is described on 2 separate pages as different points, and they wanted to kind of get some clarification on that. So that was addressed in a challenge update. So if you guys have not read the challenge updates, you guys should probably have a team member before every practice look for updates. The original score sheets in the back of the rule book had a couple errors in it. So if you guys downloaded the rule book and are using that one, if you would just download the new copy that's currently on firstinspires.org, just go to the challenge material there, download the rule book again. That has been updated to fall in line with the challenge updates. That's all for that one. Then
There's a thing in the Emily put in the chat. Can we talk about the benefit of the doubt for the speakers? The kids want some clarification what that means.
Sure. Emily, what do you have? If you want to tell me what you're looking at.
In just the rule book, it specifically says that the scoring, that they'll get the benefit of the doubt for how far that handle is to the left. And the kids were like, well, does that mean left of directly vertical? Or does that mean left like a millimeter off the ground?
Yeah. So is this the one where it
Benefit of
says?
the doubt.
Is this the one where it says that it's supposed to be all the way over? Then it says benefit of the doubt will apply.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah. he's got
Let me
the
go.
thing.
Let me go
No.
to it real quick. I don't have all these memorized 100% yet, so I gotta come to which mission model was that?
It's mission 6, music, concert, lights and sounds. And it says if the lights orange lever is rotated completely down, oh, sorry, this is the next one. If the speaker's orange lever is rotated completely to the left, 10 points. And then it says benefit of the doubt underneath that middle picture.
Yeah. So when we have something that calls out that it's supposed to be rotated all the way, we don't break out protractors and rulers and sliding pieces of paper underneath to make sure there's no contact. If we can't tell if it's all the way or not, then we can't give you benefit of the doubt. But you should still try to make sure it's activated all the way.
Make it obvious for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we have to get down even with the table and look across and, look for shadows and lighting and stuff like that, we're not going to do that. That's just going to be benefit of the doubt. You'll get the points for it. But it should be rotated.
Okay, sounds good. That will, I think, be good enough clarification for them.
Well, and so I know your kids will probably be here next week as well. So remember, next week, Craig, is the kids.
That is next week, Monday.
I remember
next
we
Zoom
have
call
the
is,
hanging with the refs
for the kids.
and judges next week, Monday. So have all your kids join and they can ask questions as well. So have them write all their questions down. I'll make sure Eric's here so he can answer them all.
Well, my son is devastated. He has a soccer game exactly during the call, so he won't be able to be on, but the girls will.
Okay, good enough.
So
You can
Jay,
send Barry.
So when we try to, okay, so just so I understand, do we need to have one parent per Zoom session or just because you want there to be some kind of parental supervision for this, right? Or at least coach supervision for the team, or you don't care either way for this thing next week? I just want to set the correct expectations for the families.
So you know what, I'm going to punt that one over to Craig because I don't know what our, since it's, we're pushing it through BadgerBots, I don't know what they would like to have.
Well, I don't even remember what our protocol was last year.
There wasn't one. It was a free form. We didn't record it. And so we had, it wasn't an official BadgerBots call last year. We had a couple people on that, all of our referees and judges that joined us had their youth protection and everything up to date. So we made sure there was at least 2 youth protection approved people in the room with the kids, at any specific time, just like if you were at a meeting. So.
Okay.
Obviously, there's not going to be an audit. We would like the parents to at least give their permission to their children. There's no way we can verify that. We will ask the kids to turn their screen or the video off, and we're not going to record it. So, we're just taking whatever precautions we can, yet still give the kids an opportunity to participate.
Okay, so to summarize, video off. Parents
Yes.
have to say it's okay, but they don't necessarily have to be in the room.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. I just want to set the expectations appropriately.
And so we'll, we'll have a couple moderators in the room and they'll be diligent about trying to make sure all the video is off and everything as well. And like I said, we're not going to record it in any way, so. And there's only one this year. I know last year we did 2, but we're only doing 1. We may do something later on in the season if we feel like it'll be helpful, or if the kids just love it so much and they want to do it again.
Well, everybody likes hanging with Jay.
That's true.
Okay, one more thing in the chats. Cody was asking if, look at the Wisconsin regional tournament locations. Was wondering if someone could tell me that the facility in Brown County was being held. I responded, I don't think it's figured out yet, 100%. But Craig, do you have any new information?
I have no new information.
Okay.
Sorry. Brown County. Jay, I was gonna ask you, the only update I saw at first was August 22nd. Has there been any other updates since then to the robot game?
Oh, to the robot game or the robot or updates in general? I
No,
thought there
just
was a,
to the updates and clarifications is the heading of the page,
yeah, I think that
dated August 22nd. Are you aware of anything since then?
I am not. I'm actually on the page now. I was just checking for that. So
Okay,
Yeah, I checked today as well.
okay. So just want to make sure that the coaches know what the latest update was.
yeah, so
I did-
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I did post in the chat that First had a blog post about this year's innovation project. So I posted that in Slack. I'll post that in the Zoom chat as well. But basically, they just said that this year's first Lego League Challenge teams, the question, how can you use technology and the arts to help engage others or increase participation in what you love to do? Be sure to check out the challenge overview for guiding questions to lead through the engineering design process. And then they follow on, are you worried you might be taking your innovation project in the wrong direction? Not even sure how to interpret the prompt? Don't worry. This year's theme is all about big ideas, bold action, and creativity. Innovation project and future is yours to create. We'd like to assure all teams that your innovation projects are legal and will not be disqualified. The judges are looking to see where you are, where you and your teams got in the engineering design process, and what you might do next. For more information on judging and what to expect, review the rubrics. Okay, I know, and the reason I wanted to point that out is I know there's been a lot of concern with people about, are they in the right space this year on their innovation projects? And it is very vague, and it's by design. So don't worry about that. Just kind of go with the spirit of what they're looking for.
So Cody, I see your question. Before we answer your question, I just want to make a statement about your question. So teams are not advanced based on top score. Okay. So maybe Brian, can you briefly explain? I don't know if you see Cody's question there.
Missing the question. Where is it?
Right above your post. You can read it if you can't see it.
Oh, okay. Okay. His response. Thanks, Brian. Okay. So advancement is based on champions criteria. Champions criteria is really how the teams are ranked in all 4 areas. So that is the robot games. Okay. It's your rank in robot game, not your robot rank game score. Okay. So if the top team is got 400 and the second one's got 300, it's not a delta of that far. It's just 1 versus 2. Okay. So it's your standing there. And then the same thing, you get ranked through the judging process and the rubrics on the innovation project, robot design, and core values. And all of those are equally weighted. And we're looking for the best all-around team. So advancement is based on however many teams we're advancing that are in that top grouping. So we look for the top all-around teams, X deep, however many, whatever that advancement number is per tournament. Does that answer your question? Is that clear at least? I guess is the real question.
Yeah, this is Cody. Yeah, it's understood that that's how the advancement works. I was just wondering if anybody could tell me how many teams are accepted into that meet, and then how many teams would advance from that meet, because it's my understanding that each regional location is different as far as how many teams are accepted into that meet and then our tournament, and then how many advance from each one is different. They're not all equal.
Well,
Want to go for that, Greg? Okay.
certainly. That's the process that we get to go through early October. We can't do it until we get all the preferences and registrations to the regionals. And obviously the first step is trying to line up everybody's first preference. As far as advancement to sectionals, it's predominantly just on a percentage basis. Every tournament, roughly 25 to 33% of the teams, depending how the numbers land, will advance to the sectionals. So I can't give you an exact number, but I can give you the range of the percentages. 25 to 33% will advance from each regional.
Okay, and I guess I would just my question to that response would be, well, this is only my second year as being participating in this. But last year, for instance, we went. One of our preferences was the Appleton Regional, and there were 10 teams in that, and only 2 moved on. That's 20%. So
Yep.
is that number just changed this year? Is that different year to year? Is that will it mainly be approximately roughly the same percentage each location this year, or how does that work?
Well, it's really just an effort to be consistent across the board. I can't explain why only 2 from Appleton went last year. I believe it was because it was the smallest tournament we had. It was only 10 teams, but I was not part of that decision process. All I can tell you is now it's going to be relatively consistent, somewhere between 25 and 33% across the board.
But there is a bit of a rounding error, Cody, from
Right.
we can't send half a team or a third of a team. So there's rounding up and rounding down that happens across certain tournaments to get the numbers to work out.
Yep, understood. Yeah, I was just talking with some other coaches that I know, and they went to other tournaments, and I think one of them was Lakeshore last year, and I think it was like 35%. And I was like, well, how did you get 35% from one tournament and 20% from another? It just doesn't make sense. So I just wanted to try to get clarification on that this year.
Yep. Noted, and at least the plan is to have that corrected.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for the clarification, guys.
Yep.
All right, I have one more to go over on Slack from Peggy. I think she had to jump off already. Yes, she did. So Peggy was basically asking what happens if a team, if the robot knocks a model off the dual lock or moves it out of place. Like, what happens? Does a referee reset that model, or what happens from there? The answer to that is, as I stated earlier, there's no rule that says a robot cannot move something, cannot remove it from a dual lock. We don't have a rule that tells us we can put it back where it belongs, because a robot is free to move something out of a scoring position as well as put it in a scoring position. So if a robot moves something on the board, it stays where it is. Okay, so if it knocks dual lock off or whatever, we don't replace that. The only time we'll reach out and try to fix something on the board is if a kid reaches out and tries to reset a model or something like that. That's not permitted by the rules, so we'll try to correct that. But the robot, whatever the robot moves, it stays where it is. We don't reset those models. Cover that pretty clear here. All right. So also, just always remember that when the robot separates the dual lock or breaks the mission model, if it clearly makes it easier for them to score or causes a scoring condition, then they don't get points for that mission model. With that, we can take any other questions. Allison, are you joining us next week for the hanging with the refs? Hear me?
She's muted, so she may be responding, but we don't hear her.
So any other questions that you guys may have? You can field anything that you'd like.
I did post in chat that I believe I have the looking for a team posted now. So I don't know if that'll be just for new people or if it's for existing people that didn't have it added, if it's added or not. But it's supposed to be added at least for new people. And then
Thank you.
nomenclature wise, we were asking, and it is the Wisconsin FL coaches is a workspace, and things like general and official judge questions, official referee questions, looking for a team are called channels.
Okay, workspace, then channels. Thank
Workspace.
you.
I had to look it up too. I couldn't. I'm sure I knew at one point. But
Look like I got an affirmative emoji from Allison, so I assume you're going to be here for hanging with the refs next week. Yay!
Yes, I will be. Sorry
Awesome.
about that.
Oh, you're good.
All right, anything from the chat or let's see?
Hi, Kimberly. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. It was a good time last year. What team are you with, Kimberly? I don't.
Team Alpha Geek.
Oh, cool.
okay.
Thanks. Right. If you guys have any other questions or need to get a hold of us, you can reply back to your newsletter or find Craig at email address.
What is it? FLLteams@badgerbots.org. So again, just going through the coaches checklist, still a lot of teams have to get 2 coaches, mentors going through the YPP. You cannot participate in a tournament without having that done. Obviously sign up for a regional. We'll have, of course, that link in the next newsletter that comes out Thursday. Get that in before October 1st.
Oh, real quick, before we wrap up, I did see a question come through. It wasn't on our Slack channel, but it was from one of our regional coaches. They were having some mentors or coaches go through the YPP or the background check, and they believed, or it was reported to them that the background check asked them to pay now or pay later. So I did my YPP this year and it didn't say
You shouldn't have to
me.
pay for it.
Right.
You're allowed to donate it if you want,
Right.
but you shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right. That's my experience this year as well. So, if you get it reported back to you that they're asking you to pay now or pay later, let us know, because that was secondhand to one of our coaches, but you shouldn't have to pay for your background check.
Yeah, I don't know. I can ask some people that I know just went through it, but so I have a number of teams in Waukesha forming.
Okay, I think I covered everything that I have gotten this week. Oh, sorry, we gave out Craig's email address. You guys can contact Brian or myself. Either you can send questions to Craig and he'll forward to us via email, or you can find us on the Slack channel, which there's a link in the newsletter there as well. Oh, there's a question. In the sign-up process for regional sectionals, do we list if we have a need, not preference, but need for judging in the morning as an example? Is there a spot for comments or?
There is a spot for comments. I would not get that specific at this point. That's going to be up to the tournament director on how they schedule you. There's, obviously a standard schedule and they randomize teams. But if you have a specific schedule on that day, that will be addressed directly with the tournament director. Not part of the registration process.
Okay, yeah, our team just has an issue where, like, for our second or third, if we don't get our first preference, in order to have all of our team members there, we would have to have judging in the morning. Otherwise, we'd be missing kids. So, like, filling out second and third preference, I didn't know if that would make a difference or not.
Yeah.
If we get our first preference, they all can come.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I'm under no illusion that this is going to be perfect. So we're going to do a first round, assign the teams based on the 3 preferences, and then we'll deal with the exceptions as they come up.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
In the past, Emily, that all of the TDs, when it gets that far, they've been pretty understanding. So, like Craig says, we can't guarantee anything, but everybody in the program obviously has teams and kids and stuff, so they've all been very understanding of what you need on that weekly schedule. So I'm pretty confident that'll. work out.
Yeah, for example, last year I got involved with one team had a Christmas pageant and the whole team was participating in it. We don't need to know that at registration, but at the tournament, or I should say prior to the tournament, they notified me, I told the tournament director, and they found the spot that worked perfect for them. So we'll do what we can.
But we are trying to have these be all day way we're setting these up. So, obviously, a little later start in the morning
Right.
with some judging or something is one thing, but
Yep.
Don't try to get into a half a day because that's a bad assumption.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, no, the person knows that they would miss the robot part if we ended up being able to do it that way, but we figured judging was better to have every single kid there.
We appreciate it. With that said, though, I've had to coach teams and have them at tournaments where I didn't have all the kids, and we found creative ways to include them, even though they weren't there.
Okay.
All right. Next week, hanging with the refs and judges for the kids. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.